This is Child Development 155. It's for the spring semester of 2018, and this class is Advanced Supervision for ACE Directors. So I always like to first start off and make sure that everybody's in the right place or is taking the right class for them. According to the syllabus and our student learning outcome, this class partially fulfills the requirement for the administration part for either your site supervisor or your program director permit. It does meet the Title 22 licensing regulations for directors. If you have any questions either about permitting or about licensing, the best thing to do is for a permit question, reach out to Diane Studinka or Jenny Ferrero at our Child Development Department. They're our full-time staff and they know a lot about permitting. So if you have questions about going ahead and getting the permits, do you have the classes that you need? Do you not have the classes that you need? We like to save you some trouble and heartache by giving you some counseling when it comes to that. So you can always reach out to Diane Studinka or Jenny Ferrero. Dr. Laurel Anderson is on sabbatical for the spring 2018, so she's not going to be available this semester. If you have questions about your licensing regulations, the best thing to do is to call your analyst and make sure that you have taken the right classes in order to go ahead and be a director as far as their requirements. I do also want to touch on the fact that you really need to have a strong background in child development in order to kind of take this class. There are prerequisites for a reason. We do waive them if you have a compelling reason, but I don't discuss child development. I don't talk about Piaget, I don't talk about Erikson, I don't talk about Vygotsky, and if I do, it's as if you already know it. So I don't expect you to have them memorized, but I expect you to have a really strong basis in child development. So if I say, write a discipline policy, you know what responsive, age-appropriate discipline is for any age group that you might work with. This class is more focused on how to help staff, support staff, and really run a quality program. So when we're talking about child development, it's almost in passing. We're more management and teaching and teacher focused and less on the actual theory behind child development. Most people do very well in this class. Some people do not do well in this class, and more often than not, when they don't do well in the class, it's because they don't have a strong knowledge about child development. If you think that you might be in the wrong class by accident, please go ahead and email me and we can kind of talk about your background and see if maybe you need to start with some other classes like 100, 115, those types of things before you jump into a 150 or 155. So my goal with this semester is that you're going to develop a really strong body of knowledge in a couple different areas. Staff management, so job description, personnel files, hiring and firing, and specifically looking at termination procedures. We're also going to be looking at staff motivations, scheduling, assessments, running good staff meetings, having workshops or trainings for staff as well. We're also going to be talking about financial concerns, state and federal laws, funding issues, changes in minimum wage. We're going to be talking about supervision as well, shared decision making, communication with staff, situational leadership, who you are and how you lead changes depending on the supervision, working within our family and community. First of all, conducting business with our family, and then kind of assisting families that are going through crisis will be some of the issues we'll be talking about with family, and then some contemporary issues, disaster preparedness. We talked a little bit about this last semester with 150. We've kind of been rocked this year by hurricanes and fires and mudslides and all of these types of things. So how do we keep children safe and healthy? More state and federal laws, more funding issues, and then some big changes in the state as far as minimum wage as well. So that's some of the things that we'll be talking about in the next 16 weeks, but really it's developing this body of knowledge that you can go out and be responsive to the needs of your community and also remain responsive to the needs of your staff in your program. So why do we have a class about supervision and leadership? It's really important, I think, to know what a leader is and know who you are going to be as a leader. We're not going to be the perfect leader, and we'll probably never achieve our vision for a child development center, but that doesn't matter. It's something that leadership is allowing us to keep moving and changing and being responsive, not only to the needs of the children in our program, but the staff in our program. So how can we be an advocate, a manager, and a leader? And the textbook goes over this a little bit more, because those are kind of the roles that we all have to play. We have to keep our program moving, we have to keep the wheels turning, we have to keep the doors open, pay for the lights to be turned on, but we also have to change and be a leader and keep our program moving and keep instilling knowledge in our staff, and so they know more so that they can do better within the classroom. So really, when I'm looking at supervision and leadership, I'm kind of going back to NIAC, and I touch on NIAC here and there, but I do think that they have a good code of ethics. But just really the idea of an organization knowing what their values are and knowing what kind of, so for us, it's what kind of education we provide, what our really broad goals are. So not that, I'm going to paint my, infant classroom this year. That can be a goal, but a broad goal in that I'm going to provide responsive caregiving in an infant classroom. That would be a kind of broad goal, which articulates my vision of quality care for infants and toddlers. And then it can kind of chart a course for action to do how I'm going to achieve that. So it kind of is this huge idea of my value is that all children deserve quality education. My broad goal is that I provide responsive caregiving in an infant and toddler program. And then how do I articulate my vision and chart my course? Those are going to be my sub goals that are going to take me to where I want to go, which is this idea of education for all children. So I hope that kind of gives a focus to this class and gives kind of an intentionality to what we're doing, because we're going to get really practical. We're going to talk like minutia about, an agenda for a workshop, or, how to communicate with people without hurting feelings. So we get super, super pragmatic and practical, but I do always, you're probably going to get sick of me, I'm always talking about our vision. So we are doing these policies and procedures for a really specific reason, which is to get us to our goals and our vision for our program. So how does being a leader and a supervisor affect an early childhood education program? Do you need one? Do you need to be good at it? Couldn't, a program just run on its own? The teachers kind of take care of their own stuff? Probably not, because without a vision or a leadership, a program will flounder. So we're kind of looking at, I have this idea of like reflective supervision and then responsive leadership. So this is allowing you to manage staff, to handle personnel, to keep your facility healthy and safe, to advocate for staff, and to help families flourish. All of these types of things are things that we're going to be working through this whole semester. But you have to be reflective and you have to be responsive in your leadership and in your supervision. So each week when I give you an online assignment, it's typically worth 10 points. And it is, once again, to get us writing a body of work for our operational file. So this week we're writing a personal leadership mission statement. And whenever I give you an online assignment, I try to give you really detailed instructions on Canvas, and I typically will provide another resource, or I'll give you a template, or I'll give you an example. I want to set you up for success by giving you detailed instructions so you know what to expect of me. I always, as well, in these PowerPoints, I have a little section where I go over the online assignment as well, so you can kind of hear me talk about it. So for example, this week we're writing a personal leadership mission statement, and this once again is kind of to give intentionality and purpose to this class. So why are you taking this class? What are you working towards? What is the reason that you're doing this? Why do you want to be a supervisor or a leader? It's definitely going to change. My first year, my mission statement, I didn't have one as in a leadership position. My first year, I was completely out of my depths. I had no idea what I was doing. My mission statement, if you had asked me, when I was 26 and it was my first year supervising an infant toddler program, would have been survive. Survive the day, the week, the month, the year. And now it's definitely changed. I have a more nuanced mission. Now my leadership mission statement is to support and hopefully inspire community members through teaching at community colleges and also through Cal State. You know, I want to support the students at our college that they can go out and they can run these phenomenal programs that I've seen. So your mission statement changes. So you're really looking at who you are today. So if you are in the classroom, what is your leadership mission statement? Like, how do you want to lead your classroom towards your vision of what your classroom should look like? If you're a new director, if you're a more experienced director, what is your vision of how your program should be run? So you're looking at who you are and how you will lead in order to achieve kind of the vision of your program. So that's what your online assignment is. I have more detailed instructions and an example on Canvas in order to give you some more information on that as well. Great video from a principal who has a whole series of little 5-minute videos on school leadership. So he's a principal of a high school, so it's a little bit of a different educational system than we are doing, but it's the same idea of what is your leadership mission? So what is your vision? So watching this, it's just a short couple minutes, will hopefully help you clarify about what your mission statement is, because it's going to be deeply personal to who you are. So every week during this course, I will also have a page like this, and it'll be at the end of the PowerPoints. So hopefully if you've stuck around, you've listened to me babble on about all this different stuff, and then I give you kind of the meat of the week. And I do this as well in the emails. I'll email you Monday and then Thursday, and it'll always have this information as well about what you should be doing during the week. So for this week, I'd like you to watch my other PowerPoint video, which is the course requirements, and I also have a video as well. So it's talking about how this class is structured and then what are some of the things that are going to be coming up. The most important thing to read this week is the syllabus. So read the syllabus, read about all the different things that we're going to be learning, and then look at that course agenda so you know when things are going to be coming due. Also read page 1 through 11 in our textbook. And then you're going to discuss. So each week I'll have a discussion board, and this week it's just introducing yourself on the discussion board so I can get to know a little bit more about you guys, and hopefully you can get to know a little bit more about me. So as the weeks kind of progress, we know each other as well. Then an online assignment, please write your leadership mission statement, which is worth 10 points, which I talked about in the previous slides. So that's what we're doing this week. Hope you guys are going to enjoy your first week as we get to know each other here in this class. Thanks so much.